It's an election year, and that can only mean one thing. The race to the White House is on. Hello everybody, I hope you're very well indeed. Welcome back to episode 7 of the Kiki. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. Let's get straight into this, shall we? Let's. So the Queen's come back into the workroom after Robbie Turner has sashayed away. Bye Robbie, we miss you already. And the Queens are talking about basically the monumental meltdown that Derek had on stage, which we saw only a tiny part of last episode, that was actually elaborated on this episode, and the fact that Derek basically did a massive monologue for, I don't even know how long, but long enough for Bob to check a non-existent watch to how long it's been. I mean, gosh, Derek Barry talking about himself for long amounts of time. I would never have seen that coming at all. So the mini challenge this week is basically random as shit. The Queens basically have to guess whether the Andrew Christian models that seem to be making an appearance every year now, I'm sensing a trend, are tops or bottoms when it comes to bunk beds. Right. What is this? What is this that is appearing around me? It's like one of the doorways from the Twilight Zone or something. I'm like, oh my god, am I about to go through the looking glass? What is this? Really? Really? Bitch, don't you know I'm trying to film here? Girl! I need to get some curtains up on this window, because at the moment I got some blinds and, oh, that's gonna drive me around a shit creek. But we're going to plough through because, quite frankly, I cannot deal with that and I'm just not with it enough to really care. So yes, the Queens are given a couple of interesting tidbits about the Andrew Christian models and whether they prefer the top bunk or the bottom bunk. Notice, however, there is no in-between, perhaps a versatile kind of bunk bed. You know, perhaps something akin to a sofa bed, dual purpose, you know, spread the fun. Why not have the best of both worlds, really? Oh look, and it's now gone. I've missed my chance to go to Wonderland. Oh well. Sorry Alice, you're just gonna have to wait till next week. So yeah, a bit of a random mini challenge. I don't really see how it kind of fitted into the grand scheme of things, but I'm not really gonna complain because I actually like Andrew Christian products. I'm wearing some right now. If you wanna see the ones that I'm wearing, like click here because it's actually the same ones I have previously done an underwear collection video on. So like click around here and that will take you to that video where you can see me in my own Andrew Christians. Hashtag shameless plugging. I know I wear my underwear a lot, so like, could I be pit crew? Like, what do you think? Like, let me know. Like, is there a place you can audition? Like, could be fun. Also, absolutely loved the whole, are you from Perth? Do you have personality? I thought that was absolutely top notch, and I'm gonna be annoying the crap out of any Australians I meet from now on with that line. So Derek Barry wins the mini challenge and basically wins a mattress, so okay. So the main challenge this week is the presidential campaign. Once again, we have an election year upon us, and Drag Race has done what season 4 did. I'm wondering if there's gonna have a trend in season 12, if there is one, let's hope, eh? And the Queens have to make their own presidential campaign ads and also involving some kind of smear campaign into that. The Queens are paired up based on who RuPaul and the judges think will make the best adversaries. So we've got Thorgy Thor versus Chi DeVayne, Bob the Drag Queen versus Derek Barry, and we have Kim Chi versus Naomi Smalls, despite the fact that Kim Chi and Naomi are actually best friends in the competition. But then again, Kim Chi gets on with basically everyone, so it was always going to be a bit difficult to find like Kim Chi's adversary. Thorgy Thor was like way too excited to be able to get to basically tear Chi Chi a new one, but I love that whole kind of like and just, like all these ideas, just like tap them out like 1930s style New York journalist, just like so cute. Loved it. So like we get a lot of workroom action. The Queens are working really hard. Obviously it's top 6 now, so they're taking it really seriously, and yeah, like there's not really a whole lot to comment on that. So we're gonna go straight to the Queens like doing the shoot, whatever it is, filming. So the first one's up are Derek Barry and Bob the Drag Queen, and I have to admit it's really nice to see Derek getting like so involved. Like obviously in the workroom he was like very engaged with Bob, and then on set he's really turning the party. Like you can see that like now things are starting to click and there's this sort of transformation and evolution happening, and you know, even so far as giving Bob pointers on how he should be doing the role, and you know, constructively critiquing in a good way, and kind of letting go of that whole Britney shell and that sort of thing. So it's actually a really nice to see that happen with Derek, and whilst also being really funny with it. I think Derek is sort of on the shy, quite funny, without really realising how funny he is, and sort of goes for the non-joke a lot when actually he should just go with his gut. Like, he was quite funny on Snatch Game and he's made some good jibes. So yeah, it was good to see that actually being put to good use. Perhaps Bob is being a good influence. I feel like I've sort of managed to say a lot without really hesitation or umming and erring too much, so I'm actually quite proud of myself for that. Talk about putting the spotlight on me. Jesus Christ, what is this, show, guys? Though it does make me wonder, is Derek Barry a Republican or is he more interested in being a Democrat? Yes, we know you hemmed it. Get over it. Bob is absolutely hilarious in his shoots. The fact that he's even come up with this whole like baby thing and that Derek is really going for it is just so funny. I love the fact that Bob even like managed to nearly knock himself out on one of the lighting rigs because he just was in hysterics. I think they were actually a really good matchup. I thought it was going to be really difficult for them and they would probably end up being in the bottom two together because they would just clash too much, but actually they've used it to their advantage. So yeah, that worked really, really well. Naomi and Kim Chi. Naomi seems to be struggling a little bit with the filming, trying to get her words out and stuff. And Kim Chi decides to try and smear Naomi Smalls using food as a metaphor. I thought this was supposed to be a smear campaign, not a schmear campaign. Did you want cream cheese with your smoked salmon for breakfast, bitch? And then Chi-Chi and Thorgy. Chi-Chi was given a few notes. She was kind of like going in a sort of weird direction and Michelle and Carson kind of pulled her in a different one. And I think it went pretty decently. And Thorgy thought had this whole kind of like, you know, old school character that I actually really liked. I thought it was kind of upbeat and very Thorgy. And yeah, I thought it was quite well thought through. But obviously when it came to final editing, things didn't go to plan. But we will get to that. Don't panic, don't worry, we will get there. But it was actually really interesting to see how in her head Thorgy is, you know, with the notepad, like all the stuff that she'd written, like 30 odd pages of stuff, and like she's, even as she's on set filming, she's still looking at it and like making changes. And like to a point, there is something professional about that in a sense of being able to still work on your craft, but there is also a point where you're just overthinking it and it's actually getting in the way of you doing your work. So like I understand that. I'm exactly the same, Thorgy, like I get it, but you've got to be able to sometimes just say, you know what, this is what I've got to work with and let's make magic. So the theme for this week's runway is black and white, old vintage Hollywood glamour realness. In short, they just have to basically copy Detox's look from the season 5 reunion. So the girls are all getting their makeup on and like, oh my god, as if Derek Barry said to Kim Chi, are you from North Korea? Like, oh, that's just awkward. Like, okay, yes, there is a tiny, tiny little chance that, you know, Kim Chi was born and raised in North Korea and managed to get out and now is suddenly living her life as a drag queen in North America. Like, that would be, like, an interesting documentary. I would watch that. But the odds are so slim. Like, she clearly has no idea what North Korea is. So I thought it was quite funny that Derek had to be kind of, like, given a bit of info on, like, you know, how cut off from the world North Korea actually is. And then the girls get like a little political and we find out that Bob the drag queen is actually Bob the activist and that's gone to jail in full drag because they were like blocking traffic and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's cool to see that queens are like getting involved, and obviously queens were at the forefront of the Stonewall riots back in the day. Like, know your history, children. So it's good to see that that's still kind of like alive and well in a lot of the queens, and that, you know, they're also telling others that you need to get involved. And I think, you know, the politics episode of Drag Race are always like good at highlighting that, because I do think that a lot of the younger generation aren't getting involved. Look at me sounding like really old. A lot of the younger generation. But we don't tend to get involved in politics as much as a lot of the older generation. So I do think that it's very important. So episodes like this, where they can highlight what kind of activity you're doing and, you know, promoting debate and promoting discussion about important topics, I think it's very good and very valid and very much needed. Oh, girl, look at you getting all serious up in here. Let's try and keep this chill, okay? Let's just like have some fun. But yes, you do need to go out and register to vote and vote. Both things. So let's go to the runway, and the queens are coming out in their black and white looks, and is it me or were like the lights kind of getting in the way a little bit? Considering like they're supposed to be in all black and white, they kept having like, you know, purple and green and orange and red like bouncing off their outfits, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of like ruining the illusion for me just a little bit. So Bob's outfit is pretty cool. I really liked that whole ensemble. It was really, really funky. Kind of reminded me of like the Joker from a deck of cards, if the Joker was a drag queen. Derek was all about the reveal, but that dress, darling, was a little bit like, okay. It's supposed to be black and white Hollywood realness, not, you know, 1920s moo-moo realness. Naomi Smalls, okay, bitch, I love this outfit because A, it's an amazing outfit, and B, I love Raven. But darling, come on, like, you are fierce enough on your own, get your own shit. You don't need to be wearing someone else's stuff. Like, come up with something unique, like, for yourself. But that outfit certainly is very Naomi. I mean, it is very becoming of a runner-up. Oh, bitch! You can tell I'm a little tired, because like when I'm a little tired, I just get like uber shady. So like, it's kind of fun when I'm a bit tired. I just read the house down on everything because I stopped caring. I know that's probably hitting below the belt a little bit because I love Raven and like, oh my god, ouch, runner up twice. But I love Raven. She is like one of my favourites, obviously. Kimchi's makeup was stunning and the outfit was actually really, really fun. I liked the inspiration from it and I loved the presentation. It was absolutely adorable. So yeah, it was like really, really cute. Thorgy Thor, I quite liked this. I can totally see the inspiration. It's just very Thorgy and yeah, it was cute. And Chi Devane, I love that dress. Oh my god, that was a beautiful dress. And like the whole beads on the back and the little fur stole. Like, darling, yes, serving. The only thing that I will say is obviously, I liked the concept, you know, like Detox's look with the whole like grey paint was just amazing. And it was done to perfection. But I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that, oh my god, I nearly said Acid Betty, that's awkward. I believe that Detox had someone to help her and like airbrushed the makeup on, and obviously that must have taken a long time, and I think the queens on the show were trying to replicate that, but probably didn't have the equipment and or the time to do it, so a lot of them kind of looked less black and white Hollywood glamour and just more like sort of horror film from the 80s kind of thing. I just felt it wasn't done exactly right, and so I felt a lot of them just looked a little bit like Death Becomes Her sort of thing. I think there's a fine line between the two, and I think they were teetering on the wrong side just a little bit. But obviously that is very hard to do, so I don't envy them, and I do applaud them for all trying and, you know, doing it somewhat successfully, but I just think perhaps it was too ambitious of a challenge, maybe, to ask of their queens to get it as good as Detox, because that was just perfection. So then we get to the presidential ads, and let's go through the list. So Bob the Drag Queens was just everything. It was so funny, it was witty, it was smart, it was clever, it had a good smear in there. It was obviously a crazy smear that Derek Barry eats babies, but it was like elaborate enough that you could kind of like, you know, believe it from a drag queen that they would just like pull at any kind of straw that they can just to like, you know, tear their opponent down. And what was good as well was that Derek Barry kind of responded in kind in the level of comedy, that it was witty again, it was funny, and it did the similar sort of jabs back at Bob. So I think they worked together really well as a pairing, and both their adverts were so funny. So good. It was very much like Derek Barry was Sarah Palin to Bob's Michelle Obama. It was just like almost like real life. It was brilliant. Naomi Smalls' ad was well thought through. It wasn't like overly hilariously funny, but it had its moments, but it was very well thought through. Kimchi's wasn't really that funny, but she did manage to get into the conversation, as Ru said afterwards, about the whole no fat, no femme, no Asian kind of thing that's going on. So I think that was good that she managed to inject something that is actually quite serious and important into that, and kind of relate it back to herself, and bring it to the forefront again for debate. So as I say, it wasn't that funny, but it was actually kind of serious at the same time. But oh my god, when like Michelle and Carson were explaining how tough it was to kind of work with Kimchi, and when she started like crying or welling up, I was just like, oh my god, and because obviously the makeup was like her crying, and she already looked forlorn anyway. I was just like, oh my god, I just want to cuddle Kimchi because it's okay, darling. Thorgy's ad was quite funny. There wasn't enough smearing involved. That sounds really awkward. But she didn't like throw enough shade against Chi-Chi, and the only bit that she did do was kind of imply that Chi-Chi was an alcoholic, then didn't show it in like a kind of video bit, And then, I don't know if anyone of you noticed this, but she calls Chi Chi an alcoholic, and then in the very next scene, she's saying, I'm going to give everyone in America a bottle of champagne. Like, I'm not being funny, but that's not how you make a good argument. Although, obviously, I'll never turn down a glass of champagne because, like, hello, love me some champagne. Chi Chi's was kind of funny, but I think she could have done more. To be honest, I think Chi Chi and Thorgy both could have taken it a lot further and done more with their ads and their smear campaigns. So, sorry about it. So Derek and Bob both win the Maxi Challenge this week, and very much deservedly so. But I think that's now Bob's third win, am I right? So that pretty much confirms that Bob's going to be in the top 3 because he's just storming ahead of everyone else. So I think we found one of the top 3 and now we just need the other 2. And as I said last week, the competition is so strong this year, and normally we kind of know from the first week who's going to be top 3. And really, it's still very much anyone's game, and every week I keep thinking, oh, it's going to be so-and-so, and it's going to be so-and-so. Like, I thought it was going to be Acid Betty, and like then she's gone, and then like, you know, spoiler alert, I thought it was going to be Thorgy, but like, well. So Kimchi and Naomi are safe as well, which means that Thorgy, Thor, and Chi Chi DeVayne fall into the bottom 2. And the lip sync that they are doing is to And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going from, is it Dreamgirls, Jennifer Holliday, all that jazz? And not all that jazz, because that's an entirely different musical, but you know, shut up, Chris, just stop talking. Get out of your head, you are not Thorgy Thor. And let's get real, This was a lip sync, like, for the ages. Chi Chi turned the party on this one. Like, she clearly knows where the song is coming from, obviously because Bob gave her a bit of a pep talk backstage, and that was just, like, phenomenal. She totally channeled it. It was just spectacular to watch, and it is up there with the great lip syncs of all time, like Alicia and Coco's death match, if you will, and like my personal favourite, Dida Ritz versus the Princess. I think that's like, it's up there with them. But there is something I would like to just touch upon a little bit, and I kind of felt during the lip sync that Thorgy kind of turned into like drag mum. Like, I don't know if any of you noticed this, because obviously like when Chi Chi's beading broke off, Thorgy kind of like stopped lip syncing for a sec and kind of went over to Chi Chi and was kind of like just making sure that, it seemed like she was making sure that she wasn't gonna like fall on the beads, because Chi Chi seemed to be all kind of like in the moment and probably wasn't aware of what was going on. And so she kind of like grabbed her shoulder or something, was just kind of like looking to make sure that she was okay. And then the fact that she moved herself onto the beads, like that area, so that Chi Chi wouldn't be near it, and then started doing cartwheels, which obviously don't fit the song at all. And also the bit where like at the end she takes Chi Chi's arm, very much like they do in the boxing rings when they announce a winner, and kind of like, you know, ushered people to look towards Chi Chi. That whole thing, it really felt like Thorgy has realised that Chi Chi has just done something absolutely amazing on stage, and has kind of gone, you know what, I get it, and I don't want her to hurt herself, so I'm just gonna like make sure she's okay and just let her do her thing. I mean, maybe I'm just like reading way too much into this, but that was exactly what I felt when I was watching it. It just felt very like motherly, and yeah, I just thought it was so cute if that is the case, and you know, just really is a testament to Thorgy's character and personality. So obviously Chi Chi DeVayne wins the lip sync and Thorgy has to sashay away, which is absolutely heartbreaking, because going into the competition originally, I kind of thought Thorgy was quirky, but I really didn't think that she would kind of be the character that she is. And she has just totally like shown off how lovely she is, and I have totally fallen in love with her, and I think she is very sweet, very funny, very intelligent, and very classy. You know, the fact of her trying to like just look after Chi Chi during that lip sync was just lovely, and I think she's just a great all-rounder, the fact that she has all the musical stuff, and she's very, very talented, so I think she's an absolute credit to the drag community, and I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to see Thorgy in action over these last few weeks, and it'll be very sad to not see her for the last couple, but I know that she's going to go on to bigger and better and amazing things, you know, so Yeah, I'm a total Thorgy convert. I love me some Thorgy. And especially at the end of the runway when she gets to the end, and obviously most queens have like some sort of pre-prepared thing, and she just turns around and is like, "Will you catchphrase? You know what I mean?" I thought that was really clever, and again, witty, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm totally gonna miss Thorgy, but well done, girl, you did good. But it's just such a shame that she managed to go through this whole competition, getting so close all the time, but never actually winning a challenge. So I'm a bit gutted about that, but she's fierce, and she'll be fine. She'll be fine, I have no worries about her. So that's it for this week, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Drop me any sort of commentsy stuff in the comments below, obviously. And next week, guys, is a bumper, huge 90-minute episode again, like we had for the Pitch Perfect one. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I believe it's the ball challenge where they have to come up with all those looks and stuff, which is always good. And the fact that we're going to get a bumper-sized episode is just so exciting. I can't wait, because I always like that one to see what they come up with. But yeah, so that's everything. So comment, drop me a thumbs up. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please hit the subscribe button. Come join our little family, because we're all friends here. If you want to continue the conversation, you can follow me on social media. I have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do follow me and send me a hello if you do. But until next time, guys, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, stay fierce, and I will see you guys next week. Take care, love you, bye!